What is the purpose of the calcium? Why do we need a calcium in our body, in every cell? And what happens if we move this calcium? The only reason every cell or body of the man created, be it in bone marrow, be it in any part of the body of the man, has a calcium, is one reason. Don't forget, your body is in a plasma field, it's in a vacuum itself. It has structures, it has black holes. And the black hole of the body of the man, to hold everything else, is the bone structure. So when you have calcium in every cell, in connection to it, it keeps it together. It's a common denominator field force that in it keeps your muscle tissue near the bone, hold it. It holds your leg tissue together, because then it's what you call muscles on the bone. And then in your blood, it keeps circulation, but it's there. It's a dynamic plasma of the calcium moving around. The only reason we have calcium in every cell of the body of the man is to keep our attachment to the bone structure. And it comes from the bone. And then, if you understand this process, it comes the next step. What happens if my leg gets amputated? Aha, I need that mysterious thing, calcium, that is always there. And then instead of growing one day, it goes in 1 hour. This is the development of the technologies which is coming forward. This is what you should not be worried. He'll become, even that reptile will lose his tail. In 2 weeks' time, he'll have a full leg. In 2 minutes, you have your leg back. Now you understand the extent that this technology, the knowledge of the technology, will bring changes to man. When I go to another planet, the calcium is a vapor, doesn't even exist, because the dimensions for a magnetic field doesn't exist. There's another denominator which can give me that. And then if you understand why you have calcium in your body, and then you understand why you have zinc, why you have iron, why do you have copper as the components of the physicality. Don't forget that calcium has a spectrum of the magnetic field dimensions. It dictates that field condition of the calcium, what strength field is absorbed near to it, and then it becomes a tissue, a cell of a heart, or become tissue cell of a lung. And then you understand why our lungs has no muscles in it. Because the calcium has caged it, does not need no muscle for it. Your structure of your rib cage has dictated no muscle tissue. The structure of the brain of the man has dictated no muscle tissue in the brain. And when the calcium is in its form of itself, you have to attach other things to it, which we call muscle tissue. If you look the structure of the bone structure of the man, the structure of the marrow, which created within the structure of every single bone in the body of the man, dictates what structure of the muscle tissues and material you have. If you can control your spine, your vertebra, with the right calcium condition, you'll never get any of the diseases which we see. Then even cancer become impossibility. The world of science has not understood how calcium in the structure of every cell of the man and the bone structure are connected to each other. Because we never understood. Our body is built of cancers. It evolves its field strength, its dimension. The field strength created in the rib cage, in the flat dimension, dictates the expansion of the calcium in the structure of the lung. When you get old, the rib cage bends in. You change the dimension of an interaction of the field of your lung. Then you open up the others to move, to create, and the lung tissues are created, and then you call it cancer in the lung. Isn't that the same what happens in the breast of the woman when she gets a tumor? Now we understand. If man understands the principle of creation in his own physical body, man will conquer the universe. This is what we have to understand. This is where, when we get involved in the process of what we call wellness, we do impossibilities. We can reach impossibilities. But you have to understand at this one time, our doctors have to understand this. Otherwise, it's another magic, it's another prescription, another tablet out of the box. To have this, got no tablets. To them, you can have this vitamin, or you can have this antibiotic. Then man never gets sick. Then man understands by his own action, he can change the calcium combination energy and walk away from any diseases. The slight change in the atmosphere, in the dimension of magnetic fields of your kidney gives your kidney stone. But what is the stone? Whatever you made, what changed the gravitational field in the calcium that it led to this dimension? Today's teaching is to open your eyes in understanding and application of life, of man, within himself and within his environment. And then in the future, those who understand will start making these machines. Mr. Keshe said, it's calcium. I have to do. And then I want to see how many of you are in back to magrab business. Is out of fashion now making magrabs. Now we have to find the calcium. Now we have to find this. This is why in the teaching of last week, I showed you the shape of the brain and how, in fact, how it's been changed to fit the inertia of this planet. Then you understand how now the physical structure of it sits there. Why in the shape of the skull dictates the intelligence, dictates behavior, dictates the outcome of the future. Why, for goodness sake, doctors never understood. We call them all sorts of diseases and we have no solution for it. With paraplegics, with the children who are born deformed head in the birth tunnel where they were perfect inside. If our scientists understand how to manipulate the calcium structure within the deformed brain, the physicality of it, when it goes through the birth, and understand how body does it, then we don't have these handicapped children for a lifetime. The scientists solve the problem at the point of birth, create the fields that it creates the calcium in the right direction, in the right position, as it's the calcium of the child. They measure its magnetic field to understand its plasma structure and replicate it. Then we don't need these incubators to keep them. We keep them in plasma incubators, which the body is adjusted to perfect the child at birth. Then you understand, for man to be perfect, for man to be sick, understanding the plasma technology's impossibilities, then life is for eternal. I had the pleasure this weekend to be in a conference where the man literally sitting opposite to me, next to me at lunch, 2 seats away, another one is 122 years old. You look old, but as fit as me, half his age. Because in structure of the environment and structure of the food we eat, they have managed without knowing to trigger this calcium, to trigger the position of it. When you look at the people, tall people, short people, at old age, walking high, walking tall, walking broad shoulders, you hardly see them sick. Because they keep the posture, they keep the magnetic field flow as it was young. When you bend in, you change combination, and you bring yourself, feel the strength variation in the rib cage. Your ribs, when you're young, has a certain distance. That gravitational magnetic field gives you allows you to absorb energy as you need for your soul and your physicality. As you bend in, these two ribs move 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter closer. Now game is changed. Feel the strength is changed. If our doctors or scientists understand the totality of the field interaction body of the man, goes back to what I told you, the guy who came to the Sensano and he was a guru, he was a prophet because 7 times 21 days he could feed himself without eating. Then he became magician and the guy bends and kisses his foot because you could do it, I couldn't do it. Now every one of us can do no food for millions of years. So the whole of the rest of humanity should bend their foot 1,000,000 times. The guy hasn't eaten for 10 years. We don't eat for hundreds of years. Sorry, on planet Zeus and on the moon, we have no cattle market, we have no fish and chip shop, and we have no grass to eat. Do we fight for the food? Somebody else has it, and what happened when he's run out? Or we learn how by absorbing different fields, we change our posture, we change our energy absorption. We use the air as that food, as that package which absorbs the other 80% from the environment. You've got to remember, everything which is on this planet comes from the air of this planet. And if you can absorb the right breathing, the right energy from atmosphere, you can use it as that source in your body, which absorbs the other 80% from outside. You bring it in as a matter state, you convert it into the gas and brings its energy from the universe. That's the secret of life. This is how the future generations will come to understand how to live, how to expand, how to survive the span of the universe. You create the condition that the energy in that point is used the way every plasma within your body carries life. In a physical life, you connected to calcium for your physical structure. In your plasma life, you don't have such a thing. We have energy fields of the plasma of calcium somewhere in our brain, of what I call plasma of our soul, partially in our plasma of our physicality. But if you go on the planet Zeus, calcium has no structure, so you'll be just a jelly on the floor. Or you can absorb, understand the process of the creation, and according to conversion through the emotion of the physicality, create the calcium of the place, time, and position to give yourself the physical structure to survive. But in that planet, there are no air, the oxygen combination, the nitrogen combination, which we use. So you change the dimension of the rib cage to absorb the energy from the environment of the place to feed the soul. And create the energy field to feed the soul of physicality, that in between them they create the energy of the physical life, that in interaction with the soul and the inertia of the time and place does not matter. There is no planet. It's just the open space of the universe, or in the depth of the oceans of the deepest ocean in the universe. You still can create life. Then you have no worries if you manifest in a stone or on the top of the mountain in a place there is nothing but fields. Then I wonder how many of you will come back and says, how do I make magrams? Can I get 10% energy reduction? Where the whole energy of the universe the process of working with the universe, creation of the cell structure of the universe, sits in the magrams. If you look, the curvature, the twist and the turns in every coil of the magrav, did you look at the magravs, the coils of the brain we showed last week? It's just piled up on top of each other, different than ring. How do you play with it? Why would I do this, that happen? Because you only look at the physicality, look at the structure of the fields. To what extent we have to spoon feed you one by one, I think the generation would have been 1,000,000 years old. Or is it nice just to be spoon fed and says, I haven't eaten yet, give me more? This is what knowledge is. This is what it gives you everlasting life. This is a fountain of youth. The knowledge of the man about his own creation and the way the physical life works. Now you understand how much we still need to teach, how much we need to open your eyes in how you actually physically live and what is the cause of your life, what maintains life for you on this planet, and how you will change in another dimension. If I make a magnet of calcium and put next to all of you, you'll be jelly on the floor. Packs of energy just shivering like a river. Because we never understood the principle of the creation of physicality at this time and point. We see people we call them aliens, and they have a feature. Look at the feature. What do they have? What gives them, what material gives them the physical, vertical, whatever shape they have, and what is used as satellites? We call it muscles. We call it tissues. We call it cells of the muscles and tissues. Now you understand. Life is very simple. Because man has not understood, man is trapped by all the anxiety and all the pains of the physicality. So I wonder how many of you knowledge seekers, the speed you want to make magravs to get 10% reduction, Mr. Keshe doesn't know it doesn't work. I'm going to make the calcium condition system energies, and then you see what happens. Some of you doctors now jump, oh, we put calcium, this and that, and it will not work that way. Be careful, you might give a cancer because you don't know how to handle it. The whole process, the whole understanding is transmutation of the fields, is transportation of the fields in the energy levels of the plasma and nothing else. Does not matter where you are, where you exist in the universe. You want to live as a worm without the bone structure? Now you have to understand how to create a condition that gives you that energy, that physical energy of a bone structure, but in the strength of the fields, that you don't need a bone structure. How do you think the worm exists without any bone structure? How did some animals exist that have no bones in them? Because the gravitational magnetic field of a specific isotope of calcium on this planet has created that. Look at the oyster. Look at all the fish, which are soft with no bone structure, but they live inside the calcium. They have managed to create calcium outside their body to protect it inside. We haven't even managed to understand this simple physical principle. How these soft body tissues with no bone, they have skin as shells. How come some exist without? Now you understand the principle of creation on this planet. Because if you look at Mr. Cohen, and you look at the calcium isotopes, you understand the secret of life on this planet. Mr. Cohen, which is the basic, the foundation of the amino acid, you have a carbon, 12. You have 14 in nitrogen, that's 28. Sorry, 26. Then you have the oxygen, and then you have the hydrogen. Then you have connection with the material which attaches itself to amino acid as iron. Then you have the amino acid or energy balance plasma of copper. Now, does it start adding up? Why the common denominator in the structure of the physicality, in the atmosphere of this planet, is calcium? Even the worm has calcium on his skin. Now you understand how playing with the fields, not with the material, which gives you life, which creates sustainability anywhere in the universe. Now, the secret of creation is unraveled for you on this planet. And it took me half an hour and all of you as knowledge seekers understand how you are created, why you have born, why you die, why you get diseases, and how you can change it. And when you go through transmutation, the first thing is, oh, what is the calcium here? Do I need to swim or do I need to walk? Emotion of me finds out in its field of strength what is going to be the seed of every cell. That black hole that absorbs everything and holds on to what it needs. That's all calcium is. It's a black hole of every cell in the body of the plant. And because it's black hole, it has gravitational magnetic field, it interacts with its totality at field strength. It can be a cell in the middle of the stomach, can have a liver on one side of it, can have kidney on the other side of it, intestines are on the other side, your everything else around it. Because it dictates according to the inertia magnetic field of your vertebra what things allows it. Have you noticed how come we have one organ in the cage of the lung of the man and with all these bones around it, and we have all these organs in where there is no magnetic field, and we call it the stomach, and there's just one piece going down straight with nothing attached to it. We call it vertebra. The combination, the interaction of the fields of the calcium within them replaces the rib cage. It creates that interaction between the balance fields of the what we call the black hole to keep the structure. And then you see, if you follow that structure, the cow has the rib cage and the bones, different shape. The dog has the same, the cat has the same. And then you understand how every organ is in that part. RNA is not that easy to make. DNA is absolutely a hard part to play with. If I can change the energy fields of the plasma of the information of RNA, I can make in 1 second cat out of your dog tomorrow and a fish the day after. They call it what we call gene manipulation. When the man learns, understand RNA manipulation, it's much, much easier. It's much, much faster. And you don't need to have GMOs, because then you play with other one, DMOs. Then you understand how we as humans still work on the matter state of it. We call it DNA. If man learns to play with the energy of the maglev, you will all be creating RNA, and if you can sit on it, you can change it. I hope today you understood. I hope I open your eyes again to another dimension of life. In the future, if the knowledgeable scientists called doctors and scientists understand the teaching of today, the world of the medicine, the food of man will change forever.